So let me share here. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you all for being here. My name is Jessica Alvarado. I'm a full professor at National University. So we are in San Diego, though all of the faculty live all around the world, which is such a neat feature of our university, and our students are all over the world as well. So I'm focusing today on effective practice for supporting adult learners in the online classroom. So my primary role, other than administrative duties, is to work with adult learners. My population is mostly students who are working in child development centers, preschools, or even very young elementary age. And they are either just earning their extra credits, they're working towards their degree, maybe they're trying to be on the pathway of getting a credential so they can teach at a public school. That's the main majority of my population that I work with. So it's very interesting. So I've been doing that full time, oh gosh, a little over 10 years, about 6 at National. But I worked with adult learners for quite some time. Dr. Loren Naffiger, who has been working on this research with me, was unable to join today, but he's very much so been involved. So if you have more questions about the content, feel free to reach out to me. I'll provide my email at the end. I'm not going to read all this to you. It's a lot, but really just thinking about how to engage adult learners in the online classroom is something that was an interest to me when I first started teaching. When I actually first joined the world of online teaching, I sort of thought you take the content and you put it online and everything was pretty much the same. But I quickly learned that's not how it works. And with adult learners who have families and lives, I discovered very quickly that you really need to engage with them and really have this sense of community within the online space for them to really maximize their learning, to be able to understand the content and apply it, which is obviously the whole point when you're trying to teach. So I've been kind of working on these strategies for many, many years. So throughout this process, I've been looking at universal design for learning model, and there's different principles, and these are the 3 core principles. So multiple means of engagement, representation, and action and expression. So for me, kind of just watching my own practice and seeing how my learners interact with me, the engagement piece has been very important to me. As an adult learner, you want to make sure that your content and your presentations have purpose to them. It's important for adults to understand why they're doing something. So if we have papers that they're going to write, it's not just write a paper because that's what I say I want you to do, but what are you going to learn from it? And how are you going to take that learning and apply it to your current position or your future position? So that's something that I've been really working on over these years. And with me and Dr. Naffiger, we work with a lot of students who are working on that pathway to earn their teaching credential. So they're eventually, if they're not teaching now, they're going to be teaching. So it's important for them to understand the concept of taking content, bringing it alive, and then allowing it to be applied in their own setting. So we've looked at things like the cognitive chunking, scaffolding learning through projects, and really making it meaningful for learners. So I always tried to, with my own students, when we're talking about assignments, I bring them through the steps, each step, not just you're going to write a 5-page paper and you're going to turn it in on Sunday, but what are the steps? What are you going to look at? And really just piece by piece build it with them. So when we're building curriculum, I'm doing the same thing. Instead of just having a big project due right away, it's going to be several weeks later. And each week I'm going to unfold the next piece. And I really find that learners can relate better to it. They're able to reflect on it and have purpose. So as I've been teaching these years, we've been looking at collaboration and really building that sense of community. So that goes far beyond what some students experience in the online world of just you turn in assignments and you get a grade back, or you email your instructor a question and you get a response back, but really trying to connect with your learners and have them feel open to sharing things and comfortable enough to ask you questions. For me and Dr. Naffiger, we teach a lot of 4-week classes, which is a very short time to get to know your learners. So what that requires is for us to be online every day, not live, but be checking in, looking at what they're posting in the discussion forums, see what kind of questions they're having, see the areas of where they might be struggling with assignments, and kind of use that to kind of give them different resources or start different conversations with them. So that's something that we really have been looking at. So really purposeful, individualized feedback. So for example, we'll teach maybe one live session at least a week for an hour. So when I'm teaching with those students, I try to pull in pieces that relate directly to them. So for example, if I have a preschool teacher, I'm going to share some content maybe about the curriculum and relate it to a preschool setting. If I have somebody who's a bilingual teacher, I'm going to talk about maybe some content, and I'm going to bring in a conversation of what that might look like in an immersion program, or what that looks like, in bilingual world. So trying to really individualize things, but it values everybody, right? So everybody benefits from it. But it's another way to connect with your students and align the content with their needs, but also so they can really have that application piece. So we look at universal design for learning, and then really trying to model that for them and then teach it, right, so that they can do those same things with their students. So their focus areas vary. So we have some who just want to be preschool teachers forever and ever. We have some who say, you know what, I'm in preschool now, but I want to be a 3rd grade teacher. We even have some who say, I'm working with elementary school students now, but eventually I want to be an administrator, or I want to focus only on math in the high school. So we have an interesting population. So trying to take all of those pieces and make the learning meaningful is sometimes tricky. But that's where that connection with your students really comes in, right? So sometimes I'll just even ask them questions. So if we're talking about a classroom setup, I'll ask my students like, okay, if you were in your math classroom, what would that look like? If you were teaching in this kind of a preschool setting, what would that look like? What would the room look like? How would you engage with your children or your students? Would you be on the floor with them? Would you be more up at the front? What would that look like? So really just trying to humanize that, right? And engage with them. And when you allow them to share, they usually become much more comfortable. I know for me, sometimes students will say like, I'm surprised how comfortable I got with you right away. So kind of working on those strategies and also doing some other things is really important. Some of the things that we'll do too is instead of just posting an announcement in the online classroom with just words, sometimes I'll just do a quick video of me talking, and I'll still post like the main things in written form, but I'll say, hey, you guys are going to turn in this week. If you have questions, let me know. Here's some extra resources. Contact me if you need me. And I think just having a different connection with me that way, that's not just words, helps them connect and open up too, because they're more likely to say, oh my gosh, this is a real person. It's not just a computer that I'm working with. And so they'll be more apt to say like, I need help, or I'm struggling, or whatever the case might be. So the content is online for our students, so they work through it. And then again, we do usually 1 hour a week. We usually do it in the evenings so that they don't interfere with people's work schedule, because the majority of our students work during the day. So we'll do, 6:30 at night for an hour. And we tell students, just come as you are. We don't care if your house is messy. We don't care if there's children in the background. Just come and engage with us the best you can. You can ask questions. Sometimes students will say like, I am doing stuff with my family at night. I can listen, but I probably won't be able to talk. And we'll say, that's fine, just come. That's been really helpful for us as well. So just using different technologies, even in terms of feedback for students, has been useful. So while I always grade and I'll embed comments in their paper and I'll give them a summative statement and use the rubric, sometimes if there's a concept that I feel like they're really struggling with, I will do a quick video for them, or I'll give them a resource and say, next week, why don't you try this? And here's how you do it. And see if that helps you. Or even sometimes I'll say, hey, in the next couple of days, can you do a Zoom with me? And let me walk you through your paper where you did really well. And there's some areas I want you to focus on, and let's work on that together. So that's been really useful for our students. Sometimes they're a little scared off and they'll say, I can't do that. Please don't do that. But otherwise, most of them will say, yes, that's great. Let's walk through it. So but learning how to use the technology is really key for students. So if I say, here, you're going to do an assignment with the Prezi, I'll actually show them what one looks like. And I'll even sometimes walk them through the steps to get started so that they can have a real understanding of what it looks like, not just written directions, because that's hard for a lot of students to understand. So again, kind of thinking about social presence, contributing to those great conversations and connections with students, and really trying to have this sense of community is key. So again, reaching out to them, personalizing their learning, using pieces, little nuggets that you know of them, and implementing that even in the live sessions is really important. So we're going to continue to look at engagement in terms of a research study. So it's been interesting. Sometimes when I ask students just for their feedback, like what was the most helpful, or where did you find that you were the most engaged in the classroom? Was it the group work? Was it the live sessions? Was it feedback I gave you? And it kind of varies. It's interesting. Sometimes it varies even on class, what class I'm teaching. But we really want to explore a little bit more. So we're going to look more into like the video casting, the live sessions with the students, because we really find that the students are connected and they really have a sense of promoting engagement. And so there's just some resources that we had in there. And I won't list them all out now because we're working on it, but that's kind of the gist of what we've been focusing in on. And we're really excited. I think it can really help us as professors, but also I think we'll be able to share that with a lot of the other online professors that we work with. So thank you so much.